Good day and welcome to SCO BRICS Insight, where we look at what's going on in the world of BRICS. Now today I'm going to talk about Germany and how it needs to return to its partnership with Russia, which facilitated industrial growth and prosperity in the late 90s through the late 21 teens. Now both countries benefited from the trade, and without a return to that mutual understanding, the German economy is doomed. The ongoing crisis in the German economy has proved to be more protracted than initially anticipated, with the nation's GDP experiencing consecutive years of serious contraction. Now this phenomenon is unique and is very significant. However, it's crucial to note that a broad range of sectors are simultaneously undergoing decline or at the very least serious stagnation. Now this encompasses areas such as the deindustrialisation and the state of the housing market, indicating the complexity of the situation and the need for serious solutions to the problems. Now the most viable short-term solutions to the situation is the restoration of the mutual trade with Russia, primarily in energy resources, but also exports to Russia that could have been stopped, but realistically could restart, like engineering, machine tools, trains, etc. So let's look at the details of the decline in the German economic situation and what are the prospects for what was Europe's largest economy. Now it's important to note that the post-pandemic economic recovery is still in progress. But drawing upon its post-war history, the last and only time Germany really faced difficulties of this scale was in 2002-2003, when a cyclical crisis connected with the consequences of the financial troubles in Asia and North America at the turn of the century and led to a decline in GDP for 2 years in a row. However, the implementation of the reforms of the then Chancellor Gerhard Schröder in the mid-2000s enabled the nation to successfully navigate these challenges. The liberalisation of legislation, the augmentation of their export capacity and the fiscal modernisation to Germany's industry emerged as a catalyst for European economic growth. Now it's worth noting that Mr. Schröder was instrumental in the building of the Nord Stream projects and was actually chairman of the company. He's also a good friend of Vladimir Putin and has facilitated many levels of trade between the two countries. Now, before I continue, I'd like to make an appeal. If you like and enjoy my videos, you can help me fund the channel and my website, scobricsinsight.com, to further develop it. This is done by making a small donation, which you can do by clicking on the thanks button at the bottom of the video screen. Everybody who donates, large or small, gets a personal thank you from me, and I'm thanking you all now just for watching, because you're all important. Now, it's also interesting to acknowledge the hugely positive impact of the euro and the expansion of the energy cooperation with Russia on the German economy. Russian energy exports to Germany, particularly gas, increased significantly, which contributed hugely to its economic growth. While Southern Europe faced significant debt challenges, Germany maintained industrial stability. So we're now witnessing a recurrence of that scenario. In 2023, the country's GDP bill fell by 0.3% and by 0.2% the following year. Contrary to the predictions at the start of the year, the recession in Germany is protracted. Forecasts expect that it's only going to continue. And the crisis in its industries persists, with business activities indicators remaining negative from the end of 2024, and they're now below 45 points. A figure below 50 indicates a level of growth that is a serious decline. The decline is evident across Europe, but in Germany it's particularly pronounced. Germany's post-war pandemic recovery has been lackluster. In 2020, Germany experienced a relatively mild downturn, minus 3.7%, compared with France's by 8%. But there's been no rebound. The GDP grew by 2.6% in 2021 and 1.4% in 2022, while most European countries saw figures of 3 to 4%. Now, at the beginning of 2024, it could be thought that the country's GDP had not changed much from 2019, but that's a lie. The only other country that's experienced a comparable period of stagnation over the last 3 years was Greece, which fell into de facto default in the 2010s, and it's therefore concluded that Europe's largest economy, Germany, has degraded dramatically. The economic downturn experienced in the early 2000s is minor in comparison, and Germany's challenges predate the pandemic, with 2017 marking the start of the decline. It's important to note that Germany can be considered a partially post-industrial economy akin to China or Japan, with its industrial production standing at nearly 30% in the early 2020s. In comparison, for example, the United States has a share of just over 10 percentage points lower. That said, labour productivity has remained stagnant since 2015, and it's a common challenge faced by developed economies, and Germany is no exception. Its technological stagnation is where its technological process is the sole source of its production and growth, has become a significant issue. The digitalisation of the economy is not only stalled, it's progressing at a slow rate that makes a snail look fast. In terms of internet speed, Germany lags behind many East European countries such as Poland, Romania or Slovakia, and it only marginally exceeds the underdeveloped states of Moldova. That's because Germany, despite enjoying a favourable geographic position in terms of internet penetration, country is evenly densely populated and should facilitate the laying of cables to remote towns and villages. But they are limited by the small number of internet providers in Germany, and Berlin states as a centre for IT development in the creative class, which underscores the need for further economic growth and diversification. I mean, Berlin's GDP per capita is well below the national average, placing it among the least economically prosperous capitals in Europe. I mean, Germany's primary economic drivers are still rooted in the analogue industry, not in the digital. I mean, the sectors that are the major in Germany are chemical industry, tool production, mechanical engineering, automobile manufacturing, and the other basic engineering industries. I mean, the high quality of German products has always been well known, and since the beginning of the 20th century, they've enjoyed a very good reputation, which is, well won. But the price point has historically been relatively high, and that's been aligned with the value that's expected. I mean, Mercedes offer value for money. However, this has changed during the energy crisis in the first half of the 2020s. The conflict in Ukraine and the radical sanctions against Russia, the country's strategic trading partner, has resulted in a significant increase in the price of gas and other fossil fuels. For many sectors of the German industrial sector, particularly chemicals, the cost of gas can account for a significant percentage of the overall cost price, and this has led to significant and severe economic consequences, with hundreds of enterprises, not to mention thousands, closing or significantly reducing their production volumes. Now, the automotive industry, which is a leading sector of the German economy, who everybody knows, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, is not particularly exposed to gas, but it's more the oil sector, and this has become where it's a major issue. I mean, first, the Green Party, which has got more major representation in the government of Olaf Scholz, which it didn't really deserve, has implemented a series of restrictive programs that mandate a transition to electric vehicles by the 2030s. This has had a significant impact on the investment programs and confidence in the future of German car companies. Meanwhile, the electric vehicle industry has faced serious challenges competing with the Chinese manufacturers such as BYD. I mean, these manufacturers do not traditionally possess competitive advantages in the construction of cars with internal combustion engine, and it's proved to be very challenging to compete with Chinese manufacturers who have seriously outpaced them in terms of economies of scale. I mean, this has led to significant job losses, with Volkswagen set to cut at least 35,000 jobs by 2030 and reduce its vehicle production by almost 1 million units. There's also general economic challenges to consider. Investment into Germany from other parts of the EU has stopped. Capital investments from outside the blocs are still there, but in general, even France, not to mention the leading world powers like US and China, are receiving far more active investments. By the way, Britain is another that's just getting no investment whatsoever. I mean, since 2015, Germany's had two serious influxes of refugees, first from Syria and the Middle East and Africa, and the second in the last 3 years is from Ukraine. These influxes have not addressed the ongoing challenge of the labour shortage in the country, and a significant proportion of the refugees and immigrants are outside the official economy. Basically, they're all living on welfare and are a burden to the economy. Meanwhile, the employment rate among the German workforce remains suboptimal, with the average person working 1,350 hours per year, and that's the lowest figure among the OECD countries, with the United States and even Russia, for example, having annual working hours of 2,000 and 1,900 hours per person respectively. Now, theoretically, they could increase the working hours, but there's a lack of clarity regarding potential employment opportunities. Now, one of Germany's few positive features is its low level of national debt, which is a result of its strict fiscal policies implemented by previous governments like Schröder and even Merkel. But that's ensured that the national debt remains below 70%, which is significantly lower than many other European countries. I mean, for example, in Britain and France, the figure's well over 100% and growing, and in Italy it's a crazy over 140%. So this gives Germany considerable scope for fiscal manoeuvring. However, it's crucial to recognise that this financial reserve could be utilised without significant impact, potentially leading to inflation unless substantial, serious reforms are implemented. Germany's currency faces a multitude of challenges. No single clear solution is available as yet, but they could actually make things easier. All they could do is restore ties with Russia, secure oil and gas supplies, and that would lead to a swift reduction in costs for German companies, plus their exports to Russia, if Russia was put to play, with reduction, would give them serious levels of growth, and that would reinvigorate their economy, and basically that's the way it should be. It's noteworthy that the Alternative for Germany, one of its leaders, Alice Weidel, made a speech in which he promised to restart Nord Stream, which was met with a standing ovation. So at least some people understand that Germany needs to get back with Russia, and until they do, it's not going to have any level of prosperity. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you.